to perform in Baltimore. I'll fly wherever I have to tonight to get there for tomorrow morning. Can you help me?
So what's the rush?
I'm getting married tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
No, it's we're not.
We just snapped. Rescue, they're less likely to find us.
Look, I don't want to die up here because you're too scared to take a risk.
Someone's looking for us.
The pilot didn't file a flight plan. Nobody knows where we are.
Alex!
In the first shots, we saw a rushing woman who came to the airport. Alex learned that her flight to Denver had been canceled. The same situation was faced by Ben Bass, who is a surgeon. He needs to perform emergency surgery on a 10-year-old patient in Baltimore. Alex overheard Ben and the receptionist talking. Even though they didn't know each other, Alex suggested a little adventure, since they both need to leave urgently today. Alex and Ben turned to Walter the pilot, who could take 2 passengers for $800. The woman needs to get to Denver at all costs, because she's getting married tomorrow. The pilot decided not to make a flight plan, despite the storm. It seemed like a bad idea to Ben, but Walter assured him that he was experienced at it. On the plane, Alex and Ben strike up a conversation. It turns out that Ben was coming to Idaho for a medical conference, and Alex works as a journalist, so she was here for work, too. Suddenly Walter felt sick and lost consciousness. Ben began administering first aid to him. As the pilot lost control, the plane began to shake and parts of it fell off. Ben and Alex managed to buckle up and the plane collapsed. Ben woke up first. It was already night. The pilot was without signs of life, but his dog had survived. The first thing Ben did was to start a fire. There was no signal on his phone. In the morning, the man got out of the plane and started calling for help. But there was only snow and mountains for many hundreds of kilometers around. Back on the plane, Ben used improvised materials to put a splint on Alex's broken leg and then dragged Walter's body outside and buried it in the snow. At night, Alex began to come to her senses. She was in great pain. The woman was disoriented and did not understand what was happening. Ben tried to explain to her what had happened to them. They were stuck deep in the mountains with no communication. Since the pilot didn't make a flight plan, rescuers won't be able to find them right away. The passengers have already been here for 36 hours. They can get water from the melting snow, but food supplies are scarce. However, that should be enough until rescuers arrive for them. The next day, Ben saw a plane in the sky. He immediately fired a flare, but the passengers went unnoticed. Night fell again. Ben saw the pictures that Alex took. None of the relatives know that they decided to fly on a private plane. Also, no one knows where to look for them or if they are even alive. In the morning, Alex needs to go to toilet. Because of her fracture, she couldn't do it on her own, and Ben helped her. 3 days have passed and rescuers haven't shown up. Alex thinks they should go, because no one will help them. Since it is very difficult for the woman to move because of the broken leg, Ben decided to climb the mountain ridge and look for the way. Alex gave him a camera so he could use the lens to see far away. Ben hit the road. A snowy wilderness surrounded him. Alex, meanwhile, found his purse, which contained a picture of Ben and his wife. The woman seemed beautiful to her. Ben climbed to the top of the ridge, but there were no roads around. At this point, Alex couldn't help herself and listened to a voice message on Ben's recorder from his wife, left 3 years ago. Apparently, something bad was going on in the couple's life. Suddenly, Ben slipped and rolled down the snow, almost falling off the cliff. The dog started barking restlessly, and Alex saw a cougar wandering around the plane. The wild cat wanted to sneak in. Alex panicked, and the dog ran outside. From the sounds of it, the cougar attacked, then climbed into the plane and wanted to pounce on Alex. The woman fired a flare at her. Hearing the gunshot, Ben hurried back. The dog was wounded by claws, and the doctor stitched up his wound. To pass the time, Alex asked Ben about his wife Sarah, but Ben was in no mood to talk about it. Outside, he saw a cougar with no signs of life. Ben and Alex fried meat that will last about 10 days. Sarah thinks that if they go down from the mountains a little lower, they might be able to catch a signal. Ben has a different opinion. He is convinced that if they stay on the plane, rescuers will find them faster. A conflict arose between the passengers. Emotionally, Ben said that he would have had a better chance of being rescued if not for Alex and her broken leg. The next morning, Alex, despite her injury, took the dog and without warning Ben, set off. Waking up, Ben found the woman nowhere to be found. He soon found a note from Alex, who said that if she made it out, she would be sure to bring help. Stopping from time to time to rest, Alex kept walking. Ben couldn't just sit and wait either, so he set out to find her. Meanwhile, Alex had already run out of energy. At some point she heard Ben's voice behind her. They decided not to go back to the plane, but to try to walk to a wooded area. To distract herself from pain and fatigue, Alex asked Ben about his job. He told her that he is a neurosurgeon. He really likes what he does. As they made their way through the snow, the passengers reached the trees. Here they found a cave where they could make a halt. They managed to make a fire. Alex's leg was swollen. The passengers tried to keep warm. Ben apologized for his words. Now they had to stick together to survive. Alex was worried that she hadn't told her fiancé in last phone call that she loved him. The next morning they were getting ready to hit the road again. Looking at the area through the lens of the camera, Alex noticed gleams. There might be something there. That's the direction the passengers decided to go. If they were lucky, they would make it before dark. Despite their fatigue and injuries, they did not stop, but then a precipice stood in their way. There was an icy river running below. Ben thinks they should go back, because if they try to go down, they will die. But Alex says they have no choice. If they don't go any further, they will surely die. Ben was not going to risk his life and turn back. Alex had no choice but to follow him. They were both tired, but they had to go. In the evening, the passengers built a fire again. Ben checked his phone for the umpteenth time, but still no signal, and besides the battery was almost dead. Regardless, they turned on the song for 1 minute so they wouldn't lose their spirits. In the morning, the passengers decided to find a way around to that shiny thing. At one point, Ben asked Alex to take a picture of him in front of nature. This might be his last photo. Alex said that she interviewed young people who were members of an extremist group. She managed to be friends with one girl who soon afterwards was badly injured in an explosion. She was dying in front of Alex, who in spite of this decided to take the photo because it is her job. That's why Alex doesn't want to take a picture of Ben in such a situation. The passengers continued on their way. They had been trying to find that shiny thing for 3 days, but so far without success. Surprisingly, they began to gradually get used to the cold. The doctor said that our human body adapts very well to any conditions. Noticing that the dog was nowhere to be found, Ben returned to the woods to find the pet. Suddenly he realized that the dog had found a cabin in the woods. At that moment, Alex felt the ice crack beneath her. While Ben was checking to see if anyone was in the cabin, Alex fell through the ice. Hearing the screams, Ben rushed to her aid and pulled her out of the water, then immediately carried her to the cabin. While Alex was unconscious, Ben decided to look around. From the looks of it, the cabin had been abandoned for a long time. There was hardly any food here. Alex still didn't come to her senses. She was severely dehydrated. Ben found a syringe and prepared a saline solution to be given intravenously, even though it's very risky. But there's no other choice. Now all that was left to do was wait. Ben was very worried about Alex, for he was afraid of being left alone in this icy wasteland. Soon Alex began to slowly regain consciousness. Ben nursed his weakened friend and fed her the soup he found in her can. They have no idea how to get out of here, but Ben promised that he would find a way. The next day, while Ben was exploring the area and chopping wood, the dog suddenly chased a hare. At this time Alex was secretly listening to the voice messages on Ben's recorder. The dog had missed the prey after all. Upon returning, he was outraged when he realized that Alex had listened to his messages without asking. She made the excuse that she only wanted to get to know him better, because they might die as strangers. Ben let her play the voice message after all. It turned out that the wife had left him 3 years ago. Lastly, Sarah said that there are some things he can't control. Ben didn't want to talk about it anymore. Alex just put her arms around him, and then kissed him on the lips. Ben responded to the kiss, and passion arose between them. Before Ben woke up, Alex took a picture of him. Later, she tells her lover that he must go without her and find help or they will both die. But Ben doesn't want to leave her. He confessed that his wife died of a brain tumor. Ben was never able to save her. Ben had to go on the road after all, and Alex was left here alone. At some point Ben couldn't take it and went back to the cabin, saying he wasn't going anywhere without her. With her injured leg, Alex set off with Ben. She found it increasingly difficult to walk, so Ben decided to carry her on a piece of tarpaulin. Soon they stopped to rest and dozed off. Suddenly the dog started barking, but neither Ben nor Alex woke up. Only when the dog threw Ben down into the snow, he woke up and saw the tracks of machinery. Ben immediately ran after Alex, who could not wake up. Soon the woman regained consciousness. She cried with helplessness, but they had to move on. Suddenly Ben, who had gone to look for the dog, fell into a trap. Alex tried to get it off her leg, but couldn't. Ben told her to go alone and bring help as soon as possible. Alex went out to the logging station and started signaling the truck driver. Ben woke up in the hospital. The first thing he did was go straight to Alex's room. They couldn't believe they were saved. Suddenly they were interrupted by Mark, Alex's fiancé, who thanked Ben for helping his bride. Ben didn't want to part with Alex, but he had to leave. Left alone, he couldn't hold back his tears. Soon Ben returned home. He took the dog for himself. Once he recovered, the man went back to work, and in the evenings no one was waiting for him at home except the pet. Meanwhile, Alex's friends threw a party to celebrate her return. Everyone wanted to see the pictures she had taken while in the mountains, but Alex wasn't ready to show them to anyone. Unable to stand it, Alex called Ben. He did not return her calls, as he thought it would be better that way. Mark noticed the strange behavior of the bride. He said he loved her and together they could get through this. During the night, Alex woke up unexpectedly with a panic attack. The next evening she decided to develop those very pictures. Soon Ben received a letter with the photos in it. That evening he did call her. They met in a restaurant. Both felt uncomfortable and asked each other the standard questions. Ben said he devoted all his time to work to distract himself. Alex admitted that it was hard for her to go back to her old life. She can't fly on airplanes anymore. The wedding never happened because she and Mark broke up after all. Ben was sure Alex was married, which is why he didn't answer his phone. But when she sent him those pictures, he just couldn't help but call back. Both of them didn't understand what was going on between them. Maybe they were in love in the mountains, or maybe it was just a fantasy. Before they said goodbye, they hugged each other. Alex cried, and Ben felt like he couldn't let her go either. Eventually they ran toward each other again. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching.